Well, now we need to be able to approve that payroll. So there's lots and lots of different payroll checking and approving tools that you've got. We've put them into a finance and payroll area here. So the first one I'm going to use is the payroll processing report. That allows us to port to, if we have finance admin, we can see this report and pay it. Once we've done that, obviously we've got BACS payment reports, Sage payment reports if you export to Sage. You could have a Xero if you export to Xero. And many people will have a trusted payroll bureau that they use, and we can normally create an export file with all of the right data for those guys, although there may be an extra charge if it's weird and wacky, but we've got quite a few standard ones, most of which should fit you. Once that's done, there's a payroll processing report to go and approve the details of it. Just to show you how that works, I have ticked a bunch of things here. So if I look at the various contracts that I've got with people to provide security or experiential or whatever services, I can click that and I can say I would like to approve that little lot. Obviously I'd check each one of these one by one if they were smaller, but as you get bigger it's very important to be able to do these things in bulk, especially if you know these people and if they've checked in and if you've got signed off timesheets from a supervisor there, or if you've used our geolocation proof of attendance tools to be able to make sure that people did actually turn up in far-flung locations on a Saturday when you couldn't possibly check. So I now go and approve those. That'll do now for approvals. So what that means is that any one of these events, if I go to them, I can now do the invoicing. So that was a fair for you to check through there. So if I go to Crowthorne versus Liverpool, I can process the payroll for the PAY people. And as I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but you can see how you've got the pay rates, you know when the people started, you know when they ended, you've made amendments for if they turned up late or if they left early. So all of that is fine to be exported to the payroll. There's another couple of stages of approval, because you might want to add breaks or expenses or extra bonuses or other pay adjustments. Some people, for example, will have a pay adjustment if somebody doesn't turn up in the right uniform, or if they lose their stock, or whatever, if they're demonstrating something. So now for this we can go to invoices and we can find this session here, and we can say which invoice contact is it. Well, we've got a default invoice contact here. It wouldn't normally be support@axlr8.com. Don't bother sending us an invoice. And we can now say we want to invoice that session, and of course there could be loads of sessions. We can put in the customer's PO number, which might be whatever it is, PO number. They might have given us £1,000 deposit, which needs to come off, and we can then invoice the sessions. So now we've got an invoice. This is the event 41 and it's the 41st session. Now, because I haven't given this customer an account ref, which I should go back into the AXLR8. What is this customer? It is Crowthorne Football Club. Well, we need to give them an account number, which I can do at some other time, but I might be able to just type one in now for the purposes of this and save that. But you should actually have an account number on Crowthorne Football Club, and then that will come through just like the default invoice contact did. So we can now run through this, and some people actually send more staff than they need. So many of our customers, if they're asked to send 200 people to Wembley, they may well send 210 or 220 because they will always sell them. It may be that they don't charge the customer for them, but at least if they have a dropout of 18 people, they manage to make the number of people that they guaranteed that they would give to that customer. Most of our customers, however, will sell those extra 20 if the extra 20 turned up. But it may be that you've got them down as zeros here, and once you've done that, you obviously would or would not approve their pay or take them off that shift. And then what you can do is you can make any line that has a zero on it invisible to the customer. So you can click that and you can make lines where you've got zero amounts invisible to the customer. Not only that, but although you can't remove any of these lines, what you can do is you can go back into payroll, take them off and put them somewhere else. What you can also do is you can add a line. Now this could be, for example, taxi, and it could be that you have a specific code. I've just used a general nominal code of 4,000 because that fits with a typical sort of Sage system. But let's say they agreed that they would pay the taxi for one person to go home late because they did something. And it could also be that some damage was done, and so damage to tree. And that would have some nominal code, and it would be, let's say, minus 50 quid. Our apologies, that kind of stuff. Maybe write a little note there. If you can type, which I can't clearly. So you can basically change little bits and pieces, hit save, and then you can create a PDF to send off to your customer. And there's our PDF. Once you have created the PDF, you can send it to the customer. It's got all of the details in it, and customers love details because they can check them, and there won't be any arguing with that because your customers trust you, and they know that if you say these people turned up, that you've got all of the the kind of proof of location that AXLR8 offers, or you will have printed out the timesheets and both their supervisor and yours will have signed off the people as they arrived, or whatever. But you've got the detail you need there. It may be that your accounting system has different invoice numbers. We can deal with that. But the important thing is you've got the main nominal codes in your accounting system, you've got the customer code, and so on and so forth. And of course you tell us how you want this invoice to look. Some people just want it with not the names of the actual people, they actually just want the number of names that come in with each role. That's very often the case. Obviously you would have your bank account details here so they can pay you and so on. You just basically tell us how you want the invoice to look. As you noticed here, it works out the VAT for you, assuming you charge VAT, if you're not too small to charge VAT in your first year of business or whatever. But you can imagine how much time this saves. Well, that's it really, a ready invoice. Thank you very much indeed for your time, really appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing any questions that you may have.